one thought at a time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Changing Minds Online show. How are you doing today, Jessica?
I am doing awesome, and I'm so glad to hear your voice. We had some technical difficulties last night. I just want to start by apologizing for our last-minute change to the time of this show. But all things happen for a reason, and I am so excited to find out, a little bit about tonight, why this show waited for today. Today's show is Declaring Your Independence from Your Past. So in honor of, we are living in the United States, and I know we have listeners all around the world, but in the United States, we celebrated a nice 3-day weekend where we just celebrated the independence of the United States. So we decided to talk about the independence today of us declaring our independence. Akina, why don't you get us started? I know you have a story that I've been really excited to hear that you wanted to share with us.
Well, yes. As I shared before, I started a weight loss journey in January. And what I thought was just me going to lose 30 pounds turned into being a release of my past as well. And it started out as the pounds were coming off, and the more I exercised and the more I started meditating in my mind about the things that I wanted and what I wanted to do, all of these different things that had held me back, that had held me at the weight that I was, started surfacing. And it was like self-sabotage in a way, where my body and my mind wasn't really ready to let the weight go as much as I was ready to let the weight go. So all these different things that had plagued me in the past started popping up. All these things that I had thought I buried long ago, and they just started coming to fruition. And I realized then and there that I couldn't bury anything anymore. I had to deal with it then and now, or I would have to deal with it later. It is never going to go away just because you decide to forget it. You have to work through it. You have to come up with a solution. You have to make a resolution for your health, for your mindset, and for the situation as a whole, because carrying that situation with you, and I know that from personal experience. Can you relate to that, Jessica?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, my declaration of independence, my declaration for freedom, it really took place, it was kind of multifaceted, but for me it really was I guess in around November of last year, when I realized that I was very disorganized and I needed to declare a new, role, a new mindset for myself and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to be defined by this anymore. I want to define myself by something different. And it's really about kind of just sucking it up and doing it. And a lot of times we don't want to put the work in. And, when I was a kid, and I just want to share this story, when I was a kid, I had a trundle bed. So I had a day bed, and there was a trundle underneath. There was a little kind of roll-away bed that used to be stored underneath it. So, whenever my mother would ask me, to clean my room, well, it was perfect because, she couldn't see what was underneath my bed. So I would just, very happily, I would take the trundle bed out and I would shove everything underneath the bed and I'd put the trundle bed back. And, she'd come back 5 minutes later and she would look around the room and say, where'd you put everything? And I said, I put it away. And she would look in the closets and under the desks and in my drawers. And she never thought of looking under the bed because there was really, from what she saw, there was a bed underneath the bed. So little did she know that I had figured out a way to cleverly and kind of hide stuff under the bed. There's probably still stuff under the bed. I wouldn't be surprised to find out some of those things from a kid are still stuck under there. But, the problem is that, while that may be a cute story of how I would get rid of, my toys I didn't want to put away as a child, a lot of times as adults, we have a tendency of just kind of putting stuff under the bed and, hiding it, right? If you don't want to see something, out of sight, out of mind. And that's really not going to work. So like you said, you can kind of put that Band-Aid on the wound. You can put it in the closet. You can say, hey, you know what, I want to make this change. But until you actually face what is preventing you and what is keeping you in the situation, then you're really not going to have different results. We always say, and, it's a common quote, and I don't know who said it, but if you want to have a different result, you have to do something different. And that's really what we wanted to talk about tonight, is having our listeners understand that you have the ability to say, right now, I am going to be free from my past. I'm going to be free from the mistakes that I've made. I'm going to be free from the labels I used to have for myself that don't serve me, that I don't want to bring into my future picture, my future creation of who I am. So, Akina, what do you think of that? And how do you think our listeners can take that and kind of just make that something that is tangible? What can they do today? And, what can you do today to just declare independence?
Well, that is a great question, Jessica. Let's make it tangible, shall we? You got to decide what it is that you want in your future. You can't go into the future without a plan. So then, once you've decided what you want in your future, it gives you a good picture of what you'll be giving up if you don't let go of the past. Because the past is what's hindering you from getting to where you want. Everything that's on that piece of paper is being hindered by you holding on to the past. If you want the things on that paper, then you will let go of the past. That's a good way to just look at it, to think about it. This is what I want, but I can't have it until I let go of what I used to be, what once was, what roadblocks used to be part of me. Just let all of that. Just release that. Release that. Now, is releasing going to be easy? No. But it's a necessity. So now you're looking at this paper and you've decided what you want. And then you go and you break it down. So what is stopping me from getting this? So let's say, use myself as an example. I put on my paper, I want to be a speaker. What was hindering me from being a speaker? The fact that, A, I'm an introvert, and B, I really didn't feel, from my past, people made me feel like what I was saying was irrelevant. So that was a hindrance to me being a speaker. So what did I do when I got to that hindrance? I had to release the fact that people's opinions do not matter. The only thing that matters is my purpose and the fact that I'm able to go for it. There's nothing physically stopping me. There's nothing mentally stopping me. It's only emotionally that's stopping me. I can change an emotion. I can change it from negative to positive with no problem. It's all about seeing the glass half full instead of half empty. So that was a personal choice that I had to make to decide that I wanted to be a speaker by letting people's perceptions go and realizing that my want to be a speaker was much more important than other people's perceptions. So once you realize are more important than what other people think of you, the sky's going to be the limit. The sky's going to be the limit. I mean, that hindered me for a very long time. I used to be a people pleaser. I used to want everybody to be my friend. But I had to realize that I was different. I don't necessarily get along with a lot of people. And I had to be okay with that. I realized in my life that everything that I wanted to do that was singular, I have done. And despite other people's opinions of me of what? You're a lifetime learner. You're always going to go to school. Are you ever going to do anything with yourself? Well, now I am a dean. I'm a full-time professor. I'm an administrator. And all these things happened because I was a lifetime learner. And what are you doing now? Do not listen to other people's perceptions of you. Just take it in like an eagle. When an eagle swoops down and gets its prey, takes in all the nutrients and spits out the bone. Take in what is meant for you and spit out the rest that is not for you. Take in the fact that, yes, that's an opinion. Yes, this is what people think about me. Okay, but spit out the part where it's going to affect me. Spit out the part where it's going to define me. Spit out the part where it's going to make or break me, because it's not going to do any of those things. It's not. You are going to choose your destiny. You are going to declare today that what you want in your life is more important than anything that anybody else has to say about you. Now, once you get that on the table, right, there is more, right? Then you start facing it. You start facing it. Whether it be write a letter, journal, make a video journal, whatever, get it out. Get it out and face it. Just face it head on. This is what happened to me. This is not who I am anymore. And this I now release into the atmosphere so that I can positivity in my life, so that I can infuse power in my life, so that I can be motivated, empowered, and inspired to do what I need to do. Does that make sense, Jessica?
Yeah, it really does. And it hit the place kind of close to home, because someone said to me recently, and I think I shared this once before, but someone said to me recently, if people, aren't telling you that you can't do it, that you're not setting your sights high enough. And I actually said, well, nobody ever tells me that. And that person said, well, then naturally you're not setting yourself high enough. She says, and I really started to think about it. I said, do people actually tell me I can't do what I want to do? And I was thinking and thinking, and I couldn't think of one person in my entire life who's ever told me that I couldn't do something. The only memory I have of that is really as a very small child being told by doctors that, there were certain limitations I had physically. But otherwise, I can't remember once. And I really thought about it. I said, well, then I need to really evaluate, am I setting my sights high enough? And, for me, I moved, to New York City at a young age, at 18, and I've been here 10 years. And to me, that's a pretty big accomplishment. I have 2 masters. I'm working on, publishing a thesis. We are working on several projects through Changing Minds Online that we'll talk about, we'll release eventually. But, I'm training for the Ironman. I said, wow, these are pretty much as high as I could set my sights. I can't even think of what more I could do. And I said, well, what is it? What is it that why aren't people telling me that I can't do something? I almost wanted to hear people tell me I couldn't do something. And I started to really realize it's probably not that people aren't saying it. It's that my brain doesn't even register it, that it is so foreign to me. The idea that someone else's opinion could possibly dictate any part of my life is so foreign to me. It's like they might as well be talking in another language. My brain just doesn't pick it up and doesn't register it, doesn't store it, it doesn't process it. You know, if you're walking down the street and you hear people speaking in a different language, then, you know, obviously you don't understand, but your brain doesn't even try to process it as speech. It just filters it out with all the different background noise that you're hearing, whether, you know, it's the horns or sirens or, you know, people, you know, kids laughing. You don't pick it up as language. And that's how we need to be when, you know, other people tell us something that does not jive with what we have in mind, if it doesn't fit into our definition and plan for ourselves, you know, don't listen. Like, you need to be so secure with yourself. You need to be so clear as to who you are that when someone says you are something that doesn't fit who you are, it just doesn't register. And your brain just says, no, what, that's just not true, and never takes it in. And as Akina says, what that really comes from and where that truly comes from is being secure with what you want and knowing what you want. You know, knowing that you are powerful, that you are a creator, and that you get to decide exactly who you are at any given time. And, you know, that brings me into another place because, you know, and I think it's great that Akina and I are both on these calls because we both have very different places we come from and different, you know, things that we've struggled with in our life. And for me, you know, I have never struggled with other people's opinions of me. But one of the things that I did over and over as an adult was to punish myself for mistakes I made in the past. And, you know, part of what we want to talk about tonight when we say declaring independence from your past is telling you, say tonight, I'm going to stop punishing myself. You know, let's go back to my story, you know, as a child. So let's just say one day my mother figured it out, and she never did. But let's just say one day she figured out the fact that I was hiding my toys underneath the trundle bed, underneath the bed. Well, probably I would have been punished. So let's just say, for example, my mother took the TV away for one night, and I went to bed one night without TV. You know, chances are the next morning I probably wouldn't have done it again. Maybe eventually I would have done it again. But the punishment was fitting. No, I actually don't have a TV today. But let's just say that my mother had said, okay, for the rest of your life, you can never watch TV again. And that seems a little bit odd, right? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Why would my mother take away my TV for the rest of my life? So, I mean, when does that stop? You know, when I'm an adult, when I have my own kids, you know, when do I get the TV back? And those two things, they don't even make sense. You know, you wouldn't even say, okay, well, that's a fitting punishment. It's silly. Well, the truth is that we are doing that silly thing to ourselves all of the time. Every single day that we look in the mirror and see something less than perfect, then we're punishing ourselves over and over and over for past mistakes. Every day we carry negativity with us. We are punishing ourselves from our past. And the truth is that we were made perfectly in the image of God. And when we look into the mirror, we need to see a perfect and beautiful creation. And when we do, when we're abiding in his love, when we see ourselves in that light, we are free. Our chains are gone. We stop punishing ourselves for the silly mistakes we made. You know, there's nothing we can do to go back and correct or change the mistakes we made in the past. But what we can decide is to take only the good and bring it into our future. You know, Akina said that we need to take what the eagle does is to take the flesh and eat it and spit out the bones. Well, you know, every mistake we made is an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to grow. And we can either punish ourselves from our past or for our past mistakes, or we can learn from our past mistakes. And you can't do both at the same time. You know, and when you learn from your past, you bring in the good. You teach yourself what not to be like. For me, I used to be disorganized. I'm not anymore. I don't look at myself as a person who was disorganized. I don't punish myself for past, mistakes I made, for money that I lost or friendships that I lost because of disorganization or things I've lost. That's not part of who I am anymore. And what I learned was what not to be like. I learned, okay, I need to be scheduled because I wasn't scheduled before and that didn't work for me. But, it's not about going back and saying, I can't believe I did that. It's saying, what can I do now that's going to make me better that didn't work then? And every one of us needs to make mistakes because those mistakes teach us how to be. So, what do you think, Akina? How can you add to that?
I agree. Like the saying goes, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And there's a lot of things that didn't kill me in my life, and that's the reason why I have just gotten to where I was. And I believe this thing happened for a reason, like you said. I believe that it's all part of the test. You're not going to be granted with things if you can't handle what you already have. And I learned that at a young age because I wanted to do so many different things, but I wasn't handling what I had already. But as soon as I got that picture in my head that, be happy with what you have now, make the best of what you have now. Now, I'm not saying be complacent with what you have now, but just be happy with what you have now. There is a difference. I will explain. But, make what you have now work for you to the best, to the fullness, and you'll be granted with more. If you are not taking advantage of what you really have, all of the talents, all of the knowledge, all of the exposure that you have at your fingertips, and you're not taking advantage of it now, why would somebody grant you with more? Go out there. Use what you have. You never know what a little conversation will get you. You never know the people that you associate with every day that you don't speak to. No. You never know the stories that you went through, the things you've done could help them. You got to give back, and you got to use what you have to the fullness so that you can declare your independence. Declaring your independence includes these things. If you are wallowing, if you are punishing yourself, as Jessica says, will dictate to you, like I was saying, you're not going to get to that potential. And you're better than that. You are worth every dream that you've had. You are worth every thought that you've had. You just got to get out there and try it. Everybody started from the beginning at some point. Everything started with a try. And today, as you're declaring your independence, you are starting with a try. You are saying, today, I am the person that I am supposed to be. I am stepping out there on faith, and I'm being the person that I am destined to be. Speak it into existence, and it will be so. Visualize it in your mind, and it will be so. Hold it in your heart, and it will be so. Take action, and it will be so. What do you think about that, Jen?
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, We've said this before and just want to say it again and really just hone this in the last few minutes we have left. The only limitations that exist in your life are the ones you put there. Because every person who is great, they were not born into greatness. They were born with the same abilities you have. Now, granted, people have different natural talents. You know, some people are naturally strong, or some people are naturally more intelligent. But those things, they're not what creates people's dreams. Like Akina said, it's the desire, it's the focus, it's the habits, and it's the action. You know, when you set an intention, you visualize it, you write it down, you plan it out, you hold it in your heart, you put it before God. When that intention is honorable and you take action to achieve it, you will. And the only limit to what your intention can be is what you can create. You know, the only limit to what your life can look like is a limit to what you can see it as. You know, and it's like that old song, you know, I believe I can fly, if I can dream it, I can see it, I can do it. And that's really what it's about. You know, look at your life, decide what you want it to be like, and just paint. Because you do have an empty canvas, and you have power. And, you know, we do have everything we already need to make our dreams come true, so stop waiting. You know, declare that tonight I am free. You know, stop waiting for something to happen. Stop waiting for that degree. Stop waiting to lose the weight before you start your business. Stop waiting to read the books before you decide you're going to take action. Just do it. You know, you already have what you need. And what you need when there's more, when you need more, it'll be given to you. So just take an action tonight. And I would just urge everyone, and I would love to hear on our site if people are, you know, doing this, set one intention for this week to do something new, declare independence, and tell us what it is and how it came about. We would love to hear that. Is there anything you want to add before we close tonight, Akina?
Well, I wanted to thank everybody for listening to the show tonight. And I want to let everyone know that if you want to hear more from us, please find us on iTunes, Podomatic. We're also on changingmindsonline.com, where you can go to our archive section and see every show that we've ever made. And, of course, you know, we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And you can always follow our show on Blog Talk Radio at Change Your Minds Online.
Yep, and don't forget about our Facebook Mastermind group, our book discussion group. It did start. We are actively reading The Art of War. I actually read most of it today. I'm going to finish it up this evening, and I can't wait to start talking about it. So if you haven't already done that, check out changingmindsonline.com. There's a link that'll put you right in our Facebook group to talk about the book. So whether or not you've read it or you want to read it, you've read it in the past, or you just want to hear the discussion and you know, kind of just check in what people are doing and talking about, definitely join us there. So thank you, everyone. On that note, we love you. God bless. Have a great night, great week, and we can't wait to talk to you on Thursday for our Women's Empowerment Series.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, guys.